Welcome, dear viewers, to this sacred space, a haven of light and faith. Today I, Pope Benedict XIV, invite you to join me on a journey into the depths of a chilling tale, one that unfolded within the shadows of our own hallowed institution. Sit back and allow me to share with you the story of the Church of the Forgotten, a narrative of darkness and redemption, of fear and unwavering courage. This magnificent cathedral before you stands as a testament to the power of faith, a reminder that the light of hope can pierce even the darkest of nights. But in the annals of our history, there exists a chapter tainted by the sinister. Our story takes us back through the veils of time, to a village enshrouded by mist and mystery, where a charismatic preacher named Reverend Hawthorne arrived with promises that would forever alter the course of many lives. Amidst the mist-shrouded woods, where ancient trees whispered secrets to the wind, stood an old and weathered church. The villagers spoke of it in hushed tones, warning their children to steer clear of its ominous presence. Its spires reached for the heavens, casting long shadows that seemed to stretch and curl like the fingers of a ghostly hand. The villagers knew not to tread near, for this was the Church of the Forgotten, a place tainted by a dark history that had seeped into the very stones of its foundation. Generations ago, the church had been a place of solace and worship, where the faithful gathered to seek salvation and hope. But as time wore on, a shadow fell upon the congregation. A charismatic preacher named Reverend Hawthorne arrived in the village, bringing with him an unsettling aura that sent shivers down the spines of even the bravest souls. With his mesmerizing sermons, he captivated the villagers, drawing them into a web of devotion that quickly turned into obsession. Under Reverend Hawthorne's guidance, the church underwent a sinister transformation. The once beautiful stained glass windows were replaced with ominous depictions of twisted angels and tormented souls. The air within the church grew heavy and suffocating, as if the very walls were holding in the weight of unspeakable secrets. Rumors circulated that the Reverend had made a pact with the darkness itself, that he had traded his soul for power beyond mortal comprehension. As the village's faith in the Reverend deepened, so did the darkness that enveloped the church. People spoke of hearing eerie whispers echoing through the pews, voices that seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere all at once. The villagers' once joyful songs of worship turned into mournful dirges that resonated with an otherworldly sorrow. Still, they remained loyal to Reverend Hawthorne, unable or unwilling to break free from his chilling grasp. But the Reverend's hold over the villagers came at a steep price. One by one, those who were closest to him began to vanish without a trace. Families were torn apart as husbands, wives, and children disappeared into the night, leaving only their anguished cries to echo through the desolate village. The few who dared to investigate the disappearances were met with an unyielding wall of silence from those who remained. Fear had taken root in their hearts, and it seemed that even the bravest among them were powerless to resist its pull. It was a young woman named Eliza who finally dared to challenge the darkness that had consumed the village. She had lost her parents to the Reverend's sinister machinations and had watched as her friends and neighbors fell under his thrall. With a heart full of grief and a mind ablaze with determination, she resolved to uncover the truth behind the disappearances and put an end to the Reverend's reign of terror. Eliza's journey into the heart of the church was a treacherous one. The very air seemed to pulse with malevolence, and the walls seemed to close in on her as she ventured deeper into the shadows. Her footsteps echoed through the empty hallways, a stark reminder of the absence of life within those cursed walls. As she reached the heart of the church, she was met with a sight that chilled her to her core. In the center of the room, bathed in an eerie, flickering light, stood Reverend Hawthorne. His eyes gleamed with an unholy fire, and his voice reverberated with a power that was both captivating and terrifying. Eliza felt her heart race as she realized that she stood before a man who had willingly surrendered his humanity in exchange for dominion over the forces of darkness. "You should not have come, my child," the Reverend's voice echoed in Eliza's mind. "You cannot fathom the depths of power that I have attained. Embrace the darkness, and you shall know true power as well." But Eliza's resolve remained unshaken. She had seen the devastation wrought by the Reverend's actions, and she knew that she was the last hope for her village. With a defiant glare, she stepped forward, her voice steady as she spoke. "I will not bow to your darkness. I will free this village from your grasp, no matter the cost." The Reverend's laughter filled the room, a chilling sound that sent shivers down Eliza's spine. "You are but a mortal, a mere speck in the grand tapestry of eternity. What hope do you have against the might I command?" As if in response, the very walls of the church seemed to tremble, and the air grew thick with an electric tension. Eliza's determination burned brighter than ever as she realized that she was not alone in this fight. The spirits of those who had been consumed by the darkness were with her, their anguished cries lending her strength and resolve. With a cry that echoed through the very foundations of the church, Eliza unleashed a torrent of pure, unadulterated light. It surged forth from her, cutting through the darkness like a blade, and the Reverend's screams of rage filled the air as his form began to waver and distort. The very walls of the church seemed to rebel against his presence, their stones groaning in protest as cracks formed and spread like veins across the floor. In a blinding flash of light, the Reverend was consumed, his form dissolving into nothingness. The church itself seemed to sigh in relief, its malevolent energy dispersing like a dissipating storm. The air grew clear and crisp, and for the first time in years, the villagers felt a glimmer of hope. As the sun rose over the village, its golden rays banished the lingering shadows that clung to the church's exterior. The stained glass windows, once twisted and ominous, now glowed with scenes of beauty and redemption. The bells tolled, their sound ringing out as a symbol of triumph over darkness. The village had been freed from the Reverend's grasp, and as the villagers emerged from their homes, they felt a sense of renewal that they had not known in years. Eliza stood before the church, her chest heaving from the exertion of her battle with the darkness. Her gaze swept over the village, meeting the eyes of those who had once been lost but were now found. They approached her, their expressions a mix of gratitude and awe, as if they couldn't believe that the nightmare had finally come to an end. The sun's rays bathed the village in a warm and golden light, banishing the last remnants of the night's terrors. The woods, once shrouded in mist, now seemed to embrace the sunlight, their trees rustling in a gentle breeze as if in celebration of their newfound liberation. As the villagers gathered around Eliza, a figure emerged from the crowd, the elderly priest who had served the village long before the arrival of Reverend Hawthorne. His eyes, once clouded with fear and resignation, now sparkled with tears of relief. "Eliza," he said, his voice trembling with emotion, "you have brought salvation to our village. You have banished the darkness that consumed us, and you have restored our faith." Eliza smiled, her own eyes shimmering with tears. "It was the strength of all of us together that overcame the darkness," she replied, her voice carrying the weight of the journey they had all endured. "The spirits of those who were lost were with me, guiding me, and the love of this village was my armor." The elderly priest nodded, his expression one of profound understanding. "Indeed, my child, love and unity are the strongest weapons against the forces of darkness. You have shown us the way back to the light." As the day wore on, the village came to life with a renewed sense of purpose. Families reunited with their loved ones who had been lost, and the joyous laughter of children echoed through the streets. The church, once a symbol of fear, now stood as a beacon of hope, its doors open to all who sought solace and redemption. In the years that followed, the tale of Eliza's bravery and the triumph over the darkness became a cherished legend in the village. The stained glass windows of the church continued to tell the story, depicting scenes of Eliza's courage and the spirits of the lost finding their way to peace. Eliza herself became a pillar of the community, a guiding light for generations to come. She carried the lessons of the past with her, reminding all who would listen that even in the face of the most harrowing trials, the strength of the human spirit and the power of love could overcome any darkness. And so, the village thrived, its once shattered spirit now stronger than ever. The woods, once a place of foreboding, were now a testament to the resilience of the human heart. As the years rolled on, the memory of the Church of the Forgotten faded into history, replaced by the legacy of courage, unity, and the unwavering belief that even in the darkest of times, there is always a glimmer of hope waiting to be found.